Well, I guess it's just a short little video from my kitchen tonight, involving the larger kitchen of the country, you might say. So I've posted a video on my channel. It's featured there, entitled "Inside Job." Now, this has to do with the financial dealings, not 9/11, which is of course also part of it, but you know, it's an eye-opening documentary, which I would highly recommend for people to watch. Now, I noticed, the first part of that video, which I posted on my channel, got 37,000 views. And then those viewpoints slowly started dropping off. So it's kind of telling in terms of people's attention spans these days, because I suppose if you can't explain anything within a 15-minute period, then it becomes uninteresting. So I would urge you to watch all parts of this video, 1 through 8, okay, as the original YouTuber posted it on here. And of course, we all know videos like this will eventually be taken down on YouTube for various reasons. You know, I'm not even gonna go into that. That would take a whole evening. But yeah. Another thing I want to address tonight is, this phenomenal rise in the interest in the author called Ayn Rand. Now, I actually am not unfamiliar with her writings. Many right-wingers would probably be completely horrified to read that Ayn Rand was an atheist, for one thing. Okay, so she didn't believe in any kind of religion, and so that is in stark contrast to the people who are actually promoting some of her policies or some of her projections. Okay. Ayn Rand came from a well-to-do family in Russia, which was ousted by the Russian Revolution, and she held a grudge against that all of her life. And so she became basically the opposite of the corrupt Soviet system at the time. She became a market over everything guru. And nothing could be wrong. Nothing could be wrong with greed and selfishness, because eventually, in her mind, that would lead to a larger prosperity for all. Oh, well, we all know how that sort of worked out in 2008, when the entire financial system, which was built essentially on that same ideology, came crashing down on our heads. Of course, not for the big gurus on Wall Street. They're still raking in their bonuses and so on. I mean, it's just a continuing disaster as far as I'm concerned. There is no regulation whatsoever to prevent this from ever happening again. In fact, it's just, spinning more stories and making everyone believe that the economy, the jobless economy, you might say, is going to recover somehow in the United States. Well, in actuality, nothing further could be said about it, except that it's not going to recover. It's going to keep declining. And so this is another reason why you should watch this film, Inside Job, because it explains that it's not, it's not only the Fed, as Ron Paul likes to say, which is the problem here. The problem is much wider than Ron Paul likes to admit. The problem is this entire free market doctrine at all costs. That is the crux of the entire problem. Once it goes completely global, which it has. So, I just want to say, I completely agree with Ron Paul's statement that we should be getting out of these foreign adventures in terms of military stuff and all this stuff. This military dominance over everyone, the United States being the policeman, basically, for the entire world. I mean, that's that's something which is not even in question, okay? Most people would completely agree with that statement. The problem comes in when people like Ron Paul are still on board with the free market policies which brought all of these disasters about in the first place. In other words, Ron Paul is for the free market economy globally, okay? But what he doesn't seem to understand is that it is the free and deregulated market which is actually contributing to these wars which he seems to be against. You see, war is a very profitable enterprise, especially on Wall Street and for the big banks, because it generates money. But Ron Paul doesn't address these issues. What he says is, well, no, the free market hasn't gone far enough. We think we need more deregulation now. As if what has happened is already not enough proof that the entire system is in a complete state of collapse. Mr. Ron Paul from Texas seems to think that we still live in the 18th century, under some feudal regime, which can dictate to people what they can do. At the same time, he proclaims that he is for the Arab revolutions, the democratic revolutions in the Arab world. At the same time, his own party is funneling money, and it's not his party only, of course, it's the Democrats as well, I might add, big time, okay, big time, towards repressive regimes whenever it can be publicly somehow explained, okay. Case in point is Bahrain, okay. Bahrain hosts, the country of Bahrain hosts the military fleet, 5th Naval Fleet, I believe. And so no, of course, the United States is not going to interfere with their little dictatorship over there, because it would not work out in the so-called national interest. The same thing with Libya. The takeover of Libya was planned years ago by George Bush and Dick Cheney, right at the very beginning. And so, even Wesley Clark admitted as much 2 years ago on on a show, I believe it was Democracy Now!, when he actually came out and said, well, no, that is the overriding plan. So you see, we're all being deceived once again. Once again. So at this point, I don't know what to say. All I can tell you is that the corruption within our own government can no longer be solved from within. There has to be a combination of outside pressure, in other words, we as citizens pressuring the government, including perhaps outside governments, and people within Congress who actually believe that government should work for the people. Now, as we all are finding out, slowly but surely, most of our representatives are no longer representing anyone but Wall Street. So this is why I think you should watch this film, Inside Job, because it goes a long way into the subject of corruption at all levels, including the educational levels, including universities, including the entire system, basically, which has been corrupted from the top. Not from the ground up, but from the top. So, I may make another video tonight. I have lots of things actually to talk about, but if you just watch this video, and I urge you to do it, it might make some things clearer. It might confuse you, I don't know. We live in very dangerous times. That's all I can tell you. And now, basically, that the Patriot Act has been renewed, it's very interesting, because a lot of people are going to quit speaking out what they really believe in or what they think about. And I want to add here that it's not just Republicans or Libertarians which are, in on this whole thing. It's the Democrats as well, as exemplified by the Obama administration, because no other administration in U.S. history has ever gone to the extent of prosecuting whistleblowers, people who are exposing wrongdoings in our own government. No other administration has really gone that far. People should keep this in mind, because it's not a partisan issue. It's not a partisan issue anymore. What we're dealing with here is a national security state in the making, which is trying to suppress its own citizens, basically. And that's, in my viewpoint, not acceptable. I'll see you later.